My name is Michael Braithwaite. I basically work with children with special needs or young people with special needs. My first school I went to was a school called Toriano School. And there was only 2 black kids in the whole school, myself and another chap who I knew after the years. And never had any real confrontations with racial name calling. We were all one, we were all like very much as a one unit. The only incidents I have when I felt any form of fear of being who I am, my colour, was when I went to secondary school. Not just from the teachers, but from the young men. You know, you'd have to have an initiation, and I was beaten up the first day I went. I walked home crying, and when I got home, my mum said, "What's that on your back? Is that bird poop?" It was saliva, spit all over my back of my blazer, and you know, to me, going to school was quite a fearful thing at one point, the initial starting. But then we had about 20 black kids in Holloway School at the time. And then we, yeah.
I know that school.
Yeah,
My brother actually goes to it today.
Does he?
Yeah.
Very strict, very old-fashioned way of looking at things, you know?
Yeah.
The old colonial strength, you know, the phoenix.
Yeah.
Persevere, never show fear, that kind of attitude, you know. And but I think after maybe the second year, we had a lot more black kids in the school, and we were very much a force of people that we held our own. We had our own ground, but there were some teachers who never travelled. I mean, I remember teachers who travelled or come from abroad. They were more compassionate to your growth, and they would help you. But a lot of teachers, they would not actually pay you the dues you were, because you talk funny, you were aggressive. Because, you know, I said to them, I'm not aggressive. I'm just scared. You know, you must understand. I'm scared. I'm frightened. But if you raise your voice, that means you're being aggressive. So they didn't really give you any. And the way we spoke maybe might have been a bit strange to them, which I think is something that's probably more ingrained now in understanding people express themselves in different ways, you know. Yeah. But for me, that was a growth, because my parents were quite liberal, and most of the people that came here as West Indians, we either knew each other on a basis of a weekend basis. You know, we would spend our whole family would go to someone else's house, and we knew our feelings towards where we were and give us energy or strength to carry on. We talk about things that happened, or we would do every Sunday it was something going to somebody else's house. Not, you know, we couldn't, and it's something I didn't like, but in the end I grew up to understand this is what it is. It had to be done to keep in a unit. And my mum and dad were quite liberal. We had all our friends that we accumulated on the way, not just black, white, whatever, Chinese. They all come on mum and dad. They never knew my mum's dad's name, but they were friends of ours, and everybody felt safe coming to our house. It was just kind of like it was like the place to be, you know. My mum and dad didn't have any racial bones in them, and we would feed everyone and make our house the center of that place of feeling safe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I remember my first job after going to the Labour Exchange. I think I must have been 16. Went to the Labour Exchange. I got the actual card for the job, which was in a place in York Way. It was a Mercedes place, and I didn't hold any bars about, you know, I wanted to be a mechanic working for a company like that. It was one of the jobs I went, because they gave you a certain amount of cards to go for a week. And I actually went for the interview, and when I went in, I told the guy my name. Hence my name being Braithwaite, they would always think it's a white person. When I turned up, I said, "Job's gone, mate. Job's gone." I said, "Well," he said, "No, it's gone." I phoned the Labour Exchange and said, "No, the job." Now, this is when I started to get a little bit angry and a little bit militant about standing up for myself.
Yeah. Was that, so you're talking about how that's when you got quite angry?
Yeah.
Did you, in terms of like the racism that was going on, was it that moment in which you started wanting to assert your own space, or was it kind of like eventual before that point as well?
That started the actual feeling that I
Okay.
belong.
Okay.
But I remember my dad would always say to us, "Bite your lip, son. Bite your lip. If they call your name, bite your lip. Do not react. We need to have a house. We need to have our rent being paid. It's not just the 6 of us." So he said, try not to be intimidated by people calling you names. But, you know, as time goes on, the fuse is lighted and then you put it out. The fuse is lit and you put it out. And after a while, as you grow older, you know, you're becoming a young man now. How am I going to do this for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Do this. I can't do this, Dad, you know. But my dad was quite a philosophical man and understood that we had to stand up for ourselves eventually, because he felt our frustrations and, you know, in that sense. So this job really did put me back a bit. It really hit me like a ton of bricks about this colour is not recognised. You are a nobody. You're a nobody, really. You have to actually go and sweep the streets or work in the NHS, the foundries, the post office. I mean, that's all my dad's friends or people of that relation did. And I think that I need to do something else. I said, you know, I don't want to be labelled a robot, and I'm a young man. I think, and for your generation, my dad was quite compassionate to my views, because basically I'm the youngest and I was the most rebellious, because I didn't want this. I wanted change. I wanted change for myself, and even if I had children, I wanted change for my friends and change. But what we did was we started having a Saturday school, not a Saturday gathering, is the right word. We gather and we talk about things happening and try to do a bit of Black history on ourselves. And we had a really great man that we met. You know, he was like a philosopher. He wasn't recognized, but he turned us on to jazz music, and he said, listen to jazz music. That's our life. The confusion of it. Understand the confusion. It will come to you in some way that when you're walking down the street, you're listening to jazz, because it's all over the place, and it's like people are talking and you're expressing feelings. And it took me a while to understand what he meant. You know, the old avant-garde jazz, or Pharaoh Sanders, or people like that, who takes you on a journey in your head to sort of pacify your anger, turn it into a positive vibe. Use the music, because our music came from Paul Robeson. My dad would play Paul Robeson and Nat King Cole to us. And the thing is about Paul Robeson, I thought, yeah, this guy is standing up on his own. He's been accused of so many derogatory things to his life for doing something good. He was strength. He was strength as a Black man. He was an educated man. He did a lot of stuff. The Americans damned him as communist, whatever. But he stood his ground. And that was something I heard, and a few other people like that. You know, Malcolm X, I got into listening to his words, and Martin Luther King, and people we probably don't know about who were in that struggle, you know. And a friend of ours started the Black House, which was in Holloway Road. It was a derelict building. And we would watch all the old Black films of them doing karate and stuff. So we had our own. I laugh at it, but it was really amazing.
Yeah.
We did all the moves. Started volunteering my services in schools. Did a few courses. Did a voluntary for my son's school, which was a school in the area. After that period, I did a healthcare course, because I thought I need to do something totally out of my. I'm a caring person, so I thought, why not? You know, and I did it. Got my job in Gospel Oak School due to them not having a placement for me. I went to Gospel, which my daughter was going to, and they offered me my placement, and they thought I was quite good at what I did, how I was, my attitude, my mannerisms. I got on there with all the kids. So they offered me a job with a child who had really bad, serious problems. I was his last hope. He had lots of issues. I won't go into any details about him because, you know, but in the end, he got him to where he needed to be. I was with him right through secondary school. Well, no, for the first 2 weeks in secondary, left primary school, went to say I kept him, you know, now I see him on the streets. Fantastic. It gave me so much joy to see him, you know, but they offered me a full-time place in the school. I did a few more courses to, you know, but I found I had a good niche with kids with behavior problems or learning difficulties or autism. You know, it's a difficult job to do because you have to have a certain amount of calmness in you and not shocking feelings, you know. And I was there for 15 years. I never thought I would ever be in one job for 15 years. No, I'm a free-spirited kind of guy. But I had so many good feelings about coming home, the challenge. I got over a challenge. I helped that guy to make one little step in life is what you need, not to miss the views. You don't miss the trees or the, you know, you have to take, that's my life thing. I like to observe, not rush. I like to, you know, see things as they are as I go along. And I thought I adopted that role in working with kids. A little step should be rejoiced, or, you know, and was there for 15 years, 16 years rather. I think my first issue with anything to do with who I was really at that point was in 2015 when the government changed its policy.
Yeah.
All I needed was my national insurance number to keep my job and my passport, which it had. I never regulated my status, but I had indefinitely to stay in my passport, which was the same as having it in a sense. Although it's not official, it is something that is law. It came up with they were concerned about my my eligibility because I needed to have a biometric card, which I never knew anything about, and that was introduced in, I think, 2015. I think it was introduced in 2015 to do with all the immigration floods that we had coming in.
Yeah.
I actually had no attainment to me. But I think when the government changed the law, they put everything under one umbrella. Which is a lot of things, even special needs went under one umbrella, the whole realm of everything. So it started to flare up in my situation. Not just me, but there were people before me who had been going through this, which I never knew about. In 2016, I was told that how I had to get more information to keep my job. In 2017, it came to the point where, as far as they're concerned, I didn't have the right to be in the country. With what information this is the HR situation, HR change. They've gotten rid of all the people over 50. They had introduced people of 20s and 30s with a script. If they haven't got this, they have to lose their job. If they haven't got what my script says, do not do anything to try and help them. It was a whole issue, in a sense. You're not there to help them. We're here to regulate the whole situation. And this was law. The government, my head teacher, eventually when he showed it to me, I was quite shocked. I didn't know anything about it. He said, as an employee, as an employer, if I hire an illegal, I'm liable to 10 years in prison and £20,000 fine.
Oh, wow.
His back is against the wall already. You know, no matter what my worth is, how good I am at my job, I'm not a criminal, but as far as they're concerned, I am a criminal. I've broken the law to that extent. And before that, I got in contact with my union. it was becoming really stressful for myself. This was in 2016. I was working. I'm looking at where would I be next year? Where would I be tomorrow? Maybe I don't know what's going on. I never knew about the whole hostile environment policy because I was never in that position until that particular time. And you know, and I'm thinking, you know, who am I? What am I? Where do I belong? You know, where do I belong? Where's my grounding? Anyway, moving forward from then, I had the meeting at I had a meeting 2017, that's right. It was February the 3rd, it was a Friday. I remember the day so well. I had a meeting with the HR young gentleman from Islington, my headmaster, my union rep, the accountant, the 2 deputy heads. I really felt like I was on trial. I really felt that I was on trial in this meeting room. And I'm there thinking, you know, time to make sense of all this, you know, still trying to make sense of it at that particular time. Anyway, my union rep argued my case and said, are you going to give Michael time to rectify? Look at his records. Oh no, we can't really look at his record. This is what the government requires of us to pass on to them. The HR gentleman said, well, look, you know, I'm sorry, but he can't stay in the job because he hasn't got the right to be here. And, you know, that's it. So my HR argued, can you give Michael time? You know, there must be a way of giving him time. Look at his record, give him time. We evacuated the room for a while. I'm sitting in the staff room with all the staff. In deep breaths. And they're talking to me quite normal, and I'm thinking I cannot let them see how I'm feeling because at this moment I want to cry. I want to let out. It's like I'm in this void. I'm sitting in this little tunnel, and I can hear their voices. Let it get into my mood at the moment. If I'm going to just break down, and you guys sit next to me, you feel my sense of distress, my sense of frustration. Anyway, they called us back into the room. And I sat there. I mean, it was all very official. Can they see my feelings? Can I understand my?
Yeah.
Can they see my? You know. They sat me down. We're going to give you 3 months to try and sort it out. And I'm thinking I'm being treated like a piece of meat at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm sure his dog will be sitting on his lap. I'm worse than the dog he's got. You know, in a way I'm looking at. If he had a dog, I'm just putting it into.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm a worthless human being at the moment. I have no standing. I have no worth. I have no grounding. I feel totally distraught. My brain's going all over the place. My sides are railing up, and I'm trying to just keep everything in a ball. I'm trying to keep everything in a ball. It's in here, but it's in a ball. It's not going to explode to me. I walked around the school quite normal, and at the end of the day, the headmaster called me into a little room we had downstairs, and he said to me, Michael, I want to tell the staff what's going on. He says, but I don't want to cause. I mean, I had a great rapport with the staff, the parents, the children, the parents had left. And that day, I decided to go swimming with my class because it was the last they'd be seeing of me. We normally go swimming on Friday afternoon. I went swimming thinking, maybe I need to be here because these are making me feel like I'm worth something.
Mm.
Everybody's asking, are you all right, man? I said, I'm fine. No one knew about my situation at that particular time. at the end of the day, I left the school. I got my stuff. I put them in my bag, all the stuff I think I should have in memorabilia. The rest I didn't want. There's certain things that I needed. I walked home. I sat in my went into the kitchen, and I really broke down. I broke down, but I needed to just let it out, because I think my mind was thinking of doing something really stupid, because I've already been on a journey of getting to the point where I am now as a stable community person.
Yeah.
You know, my worth was recognized. I felt good esteem in myself. I gave good esteem to other people. I brought people up from where they are, not just the kids, the parents, the staff. I had that ability to just make people realize that if you have a problem, you need to start from here and work the way up. Don't go below. Don't get yourself down. Let's work from here and work our way up. And that was a term from my grandmother. When you're down, always look up. That was her main thing to me, as I remember as a child. You know. Anyway, I came home, and I sat there, and I pondered and I pondered and I pondered, and I wrote a little comment about how I feel about myself and how I felt about where I was and where I am now. And my journey had always not been a smooth journey, but I took the punches. I climbed over the hills. I swam the seas, you know, and I came to a point where I thought it would be not holy ground, but ground for me to stand on and feel that I have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? But this has all been taken away from me. And I felt so empty inside. I felt so empty. I felt, where have I, what has just happened? What has happened? You know, my journey has just come to a stop. Somebody just cut off the line, the bloodline, just like that. Just with having a legal documentation of governments, what they can do to people, what they can do to people. It's not just me. I'm thinking of myself, I think it's not just me, Michael, it's not just you. It's what people are trying to do to people like me. And,
I mean,
you know, never...
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but it's just interesting because with British colonialism and empire, I mean, this is more of like a personal opinion, but this idea that they get to determine who is a citizen and who is not at whatever given moment, considering especially that, you know, British Empire, and that, you know, everyone who was colonized had to contribute to what Britain is today, you know, I would take the view that it's actually absolutely horrible for them to actually get the power to decide who's a citizen, who's not. Considering the only reason Britain is what it is today is because of all the people that they have colonized.
For me, right, there was a long period where I live on Hampstead Heath. It's always been my sanctity. And every morning, I was told by various sources that when they come to cart you away, they come at 6 in the morning. I was always up at 5 o'clock, dressed, go for my walk on Hampstead Heath, sit on the top of Hampstead Heath, and just be with the elements, because all on my own, just reach out to whatever. If this is going to happen to me now, well, you know, this is my life, it's my journey. If it's part of my journey that I have to be deported or whatever, I have to look at it in a positive sense, not a negative sense. Not that I will be, but I will stick my ground to try and work out how to get past this obstacle, because it was a big wall at the time, you know, and nobody was moving. It was not moving. They decided whatever we say, they're going to do what they do. And anyway, met my solicitor, JCWI, Immigration Lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
We met up and we went through all the way we looked at it, for me to apply for citizenship would take too long. And the arduous task of finding chronological information of me from when I first landed in Britain to the present time. I'll have to find all that information just in some kind of, I don't know, it'd be a dossier how many miles long. So we thought that wouldn't be a good idea, but we decided to go for the biometric card. And I kind of like have all my family's documentation, birth certificates, papers, letters, stuff I just kept out of keeping. And I had documentation from 73 up to the present time, which they thought, well, that should be enough for the government to give me a biometric card. So we went through the process of applying for the biometric card. We thought citizenship would have to be a later sort of configuration because they wanted too much information. So we sent off to the biometric card. I think 3 months later, I got a letter from the Home Office asking me for information from when I first arrived up to 73. And I thought, there's no way I could find that. Spoke to my solicitor, said, well, we're going to write a letter to the Home Office. This is damning. This is not. We're not asking for blood. We're asking for Michael to keep his job, basically. After the 3 months, I went to see my headmaster. They gave me another couple of months. You know, he said, I'll try and squeeze you another couple. He was always so more worked up than myself because of that 2005 and 10 years in prison. He said, this was kind of like shocking to him. He's never known anything like this in his life. This was distressing to him more than this was distressful for me. So we waited. Months went by, and then I think it was October, I got another letter from the Home Office. We want this information from that, and I got hold of my solicitors. Another letter came in December, January. That was it. So went to see my solicitor, said, Michael, we don't know what to do about this. And then the head of JCWI said, no, I've got a few media friends. We've had Anthony on TV. We've had a couple of other people going on TV to try and stress the point of the Windrush folks. So I said, they didn't have as much as you, Michael, but we hopefully that this might make a difference. And the way you are, you know, I thought I could express myself. I was scared. I was really terrified. So that day that was January actually. So we went through a whole mill of times and everything. Lost my job at the school eventually because I couldn't maintain or give them what they asked for. But he said, look, Michael, you know, I really would like to keep your post open for you, you know, because you're part of the family, you're part of the team, you know. And during that point, a lot of the teachers and staff got really aggravated. What's Michael? Michael's off sick. Parents, children, quite stressful. They see me on the street and they had to think what happened, you know, because they were thinking bad or good or whatever. Anyway, that day in March, they got me in the office, said that we had to go on Channel 4. The Barbadian embassy, the man at the Barbadian embassy was like the commissioner, or that's what he called. He wanted to speak to me. So a media gentleman called me and we said, look, Mike, you know, we really want to hear your story. We've tried other people, nothing's worked so far. You know, we haven't had any response from people. We had, but not enough to have an impact. So she said, I've got a friend named Simon Israel who would like to talk to you as well. So I said, okay. So that day I went to see the High Commissioner and Barbados High Commissioner. We spoke. He said he's going to back me all the way. So I thought that gave me that's like a lift. You know what I'm saying? That's like somebody backing you up. So, and then I got a call from Simon Israel. Said, we'd like you to come to the studio, but I think it's not a good idea. We'll come to your house. We come to your environment. You know, it'd probably be more like for you to feel at home instead of having you in a rumor you're not familiar. So they came. We did the interview on a Wednesday afternoon. Came to my house and we were sitting here talking, and he was asking me about my life. I spoke, and then when it came to the point when he said something, and I just got it, like it hit me. I can't remember what it was, but I just started talking my story about my life and my school and everything like that. We were all sitting there. He was asking me questions, and I was talking about the situation I was in and where I came from, my journey. And we were all very sad. Everybody was really sad after the interview. I think the guy who was taking the note started crying. And I was tearful. Anyway, next day I went to my evening job, which I do with special needs in South Canada, which I've had. It's a different concept. They said, you were just on TV, Mike. I came home that evening. I got a call from Simon Israel saying that the government's going to issue me with my biometric card right away. I got a call from the immediate gentleman saying, Michael, your impact went all over the world. Whatever you said on that TV went beyond. People were sympathetic to your story. The next day, I kept getting messages from people who were all over the world in the situation. Can you help them? They're asking for my help. And I think, well, I'm just gotten over that. I've just got over that board, that hill that it's been troubling me for the last 3 or 4 years, It was quite a moment, but I was not sure still. I'm still not sure, although I've still got myself here. I'm still not sure about my situation, The biometric card, from what I've been through, I think, is this really for real? Am I in a dream? Is it going to change tomorrow? Because that is still the aspect. From what I hear from people who are still being deported, still being going to detention centres, So at the moment, I'm trying to send my story to help other people. That's up to that point, where it's been. The journey has been something quite large as far as I'm concerned for me. I like to live my life simple, and for me to be going into a washing machine and then into the dryer, then I'm lying. As far as those kind of effects. That's how I can reflect it. And being in the wilderness, really, basically, because in my head I was in the wilderness. I was nowhere. Didn't trust anyone. That distrust you have when you're in a situation. You're walking down the street, you're looking at guys like, is he going to come and put his hand on my shoulder any minute? Or those sort of things, was something that could, give you mental breakdowns. I think I've had a couple of breakdowns in the time of having to regrow myself, to that point. The wording has been changed. Wendy Williams wrote a report to suggest changes. They've changed the wording, but not the policy. And now they're talking about this. I mean, look, it's been how many, we keep getting this I'm sorry, and we understand. And, all the things about the people came here, they should be, it should not have happened, but it has happened.
Yeah.
And we're still back to square one. We're still back to square one. That's a worrying point for me. Basically, sometimes I go in my room and I turn the lights off and I go in the darkness. That's where I feel I am sometimes, still in that dark space in my mind, which it'll never leave me. But this check might ease the burden of that going. And I know I'm not the only one. There are people in that darkness constantly. They're fearful of going out. They're fearful of talking to anyone. They're fearful of filling in any electoral register to show, are you Afro-Caribbean? Are you blah? Are you this? Are you that? They're scared to fill in that final thing. They're really terrified, And a lot of things have been said. A lot of things have been done. A lot of information has been said, well, if you do this, this will happen, or we're here to help you. And a lot of people I know who I won't mention are still not getting the just rewards of, or not rewards, but the compensation they need just to live. It's still going on. It's still, people are still there trying to make ends meet, borrowing, charities, still living off charities, you know? We've written numerous letters to say, please. The last one was a plead. It was a plead. I feel really sorry that we have to plead this government to understand, which they do understand. They understand it now. Do something about it, you know. But I don't know how we're gonna. What's the next angle we will have to go to get this put right, you know?